This is Drew Chaz, and you are listening to Overthinking and Outthink, and it's the podcast where analytical minds become business assets. And if you're an introvert who loves thinking deeply, but you sometimes struggle to turn those thoughts into action, well, this is exactly where you need to be. And each week, I'm going to bring you practical, step by step guidance designed specifically for how your introverted brain naturally works. And there's going to be no forced networking or none of that fake it till you make it stuff, just clear strategies that respect your thoughtful approach while you achieve real business results. You deserve to get those raises and you deserve to get those promotions that you've been working towards. You've been thinking about all the solutions to the problems that you have in your workplace. And now it's time to go get it. So let's turn that careful thinking into your competitive advantage and let's get going. So, we've been exploring how introverts can succeed professionally while you stay true to yourself. And we're tackling something many thoughtful professionals struggle with, and that's getting recognized and promoted without playing those doggone office politics that you see happening all the time. Back in the day, I used to call those people ass kissers, but really what it was, I was stuck in my head and I couldn't get out until I realized what I really needed to do is to use the powers that I have as an introvert for my benefit so that I can get those promotions. Yeah, I made excuses, got to admit it, and I would think that you probably do too. But now it's time to make those changes so that you can get that promotion and those raises with that strategic thinking that you have going in your brain. You've watched less qualified but more visible colleagues get promoted ahead of you. And I know how bad that sucks. And you've also felt that your contributions go unnoticed despite how hard you work. But you know what? Getting promoted isn't just about doing good work, it's about having that work noticed and recognized by the right people. And for many introverts, this is where things get broken down. You start focusing on delivering all these quality results, but you might struggle with making those results visible in ways that lead to your advancement. But you don't need to become a political operator or self promotion expert to get that recognition you deserve. Basically, you just need a strategic approach. And that approach works with your natural strengths rather than against them. Well, I'm going to share four specific strategies to help you get recognized for promotion without compromising your values or totally draining your energy because of those office politics. And by the end of this episode, you're going to have a clear plan to increase your visibility in ways that feel authentic and will lead to your real career advancement. Why are so many talented introverts getting overlooked for promotions despite doing excellent work? I used to ask myself the same thing. It's like I know I'm working my butt off, but I keep seeing these other people getting the promotions and getting all the big raises and bonuses. And in all reality, they're not doing more than me, but they're getting recognized. So I noticed I had to do something different. So we're going to talk about that right now. This is something I call the promotion perception gap, which is basically the disconnect between the quality of your work and how that work is perceived by the right decision makers or managers. And this gap does exist, and it exists for several reasons. But first, there's the visibility factor. And many introverts focus intensely on their work, but they communicate less about that work. Really heads down solving those complex and difficult problems. There's more outgoing and extroverted colleagues who are building the relationships behind the scenes with those decision makers, and they're highlighting their contributions while they're communicating with the managers and those decision makers. What this does is it creates that information gap. And those making promotion decisions, which is your management, simply see and hear more about what the others are doing. Is that right? No, but it's a reality. And it's a reality that we have to take into account and do something different so that we are the ones that get noticed. Introverts often assume that good work speaks for itself and will be recognized on its merits. I remember I used to say, you work hard, good things happen. And while that is true, in reality, your achievements need context and framing. And the decision makers and managers and supervisors need to understand that it's not just what you accomplish, but why it matters to the organization and how it demonstrates your eagerness and readiness for greater responsibility. And then third, there's the advancement criteria mismatch. And that's where many organizations have those unwritten rules about what signals the readiness for promotion. And that's where a lot of those office politics are. And the criteria might not be obvious if you're not plugged into office politics, but while you're focusing on the quality of your work, those decision makers might be looking for those signals like strategic thinking and leadership potential or cross functional influence that you're demonstrating, but you're not highlighting. Is this fair? No. But it's not about fairness, it's about how the organization actually functions. And the good news is that once you understand the dynamics of this, you can address all of these things authentically without resorting to those self promotion tactics that just feel cringy and uncomfortable. Getting promoted isn't about playing politics in the negative sense of that term, it's about making those contributions that are so valuable visible to those decision makers in ways that can recognize and appreciate you. And there's certain approaches to this that align perfectly with your introverted strengths. So there's four specific actions you can take this week to begin that promotion strategy. And the first one is to create your achievement inventory and set aside 30 minutes to list your major accomplishments from the past 6 months. And for each one, make a note that the challenge really addressed and the actions that you took, the results that you achieved, and how it impacted the business. If there's dollar signs associated or dollar savings, that's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. And this becomes a foundation for your strategic documents or documentation. Number two is to identify your key relationships. And so you just need to make a short list of 3 to 5 people who you really need to know about your contributions, but they might not have full visibility into them. You can include your direct supervisor or manager and letting them know that you have what it takes and you really want to achieve that promotion by getting the hardest problem that the company has or that your department has and that you can solve it. And this is going to become your focus for strategic relationship building. Number three is to find one value sharing opportunity and identify one piece of knowledge, insight, or work you've created that can be valuable to others in your organization. And consider how you might package and share that in a way that helps others while naturally it highlights your expertise. And this becomes your value aligned visibility action. The key here is to make yourself visible without having to be loud and extroverted and go through the office politics like traditionally has happened. You have the answers, you just got to get them noticed, right? Number four is to schedule your strategy time block. Just take 15 to 30 minutes on your calendar each week. That's specific for strategic activities, and you need to treat this as a non negotiable appointment with yourself. Have that dedicated time, and it makes much more likely that you'll implement the approaches consistently. Remember, the goal isn't to transform your professional presence overnight. It's really to begin the system of increasing the visibility of your contributions in ways that really feel authentic and align with your natural strengths. And as we wrap up today's episode, I want to emphasize something that's really important is that getting promoted without playing politics isn't about finding the shortcuts or finding how to play the game better than others. It's about making sure that your genuine contributions and capabilities have that visibility to those decision makers that are going to have the power to get you that advancement. And we discuss these strategies: the strategic documentation, the value aligned visibility, the strategic relationship building, and selective initiative leadership. They're not manipulative tactics. They're the thoughtful approach to closing all of those negative perception gaps that often exist between the quality of your work and how that work is recognized. And what's going to make these strategies effective for all of us as introverts is that they build on our natural strengths, our thoughtfulness, our depth of analysis, and our writing skills. Also, your one on one relationship abilities, and they create these paths to get that recognition that feels authentic rather than requiring you to adapt to that uncomfortable personal brand or networking style that just wears you out. But really, just start with one or two of the actions from today's episode and notice what feels most natural and what creates the most positive responses, and then gradually expand that approach over the next 90 days. Remember, your goal isn't to become extroverted or political, it's to ensure that all of your contributions are recognized for what they truly are, and that's valuable, promotion worthy work, and it deserves to be rewarded. So, next week, we're going to conclude this series with how to start your own business in 60 days without constant networking. Because we need to understand that it's for introverts who want to build a business or build businesses that really aligns with our natural strengths. So, until next time, this is Drew Chaz. And again, you've been listening to Overthinking to Outthink. And listen, if today's episode helped you, hit that subscribe button and make sure you pass this along to your friends, because I want to make sure that you subscribe so you never miss any of these practical step by step guidances that I'm giving you. And just remember that your analytical mind isn't holding you back, it's your greatest strength when you know how to use it. So remember to keep thinking deeply and moving forward. And most of all, you be you.